Everyone's been talking about rain non-stop for Season 2 2024 in iRacing, but it turns out there was actually like a whole bunch of other changes that happened that people have completely missed, that have changed the back end of the game, as well as new cars, and some really good new tracks as well. I'll be going through every change from the Season 2 2024 build that was released last week that isn't water related. Anyway, let's get into it. So for starters, the first change that happened this build was that there was a license split on the road side of iRacing. This will affect most of us who are racing road, and it's a pretty big change. It's the first change that's happened in 10, 15 years that iRacing's been around. We've now split the road license into a formula car license and a sports car license. Essentially, if your car has a roof, it's a sports car. If it doesn't have a roof, it is a formula car. There's a lot of reasons why iRacing has done this. I can imagine that a lot of them are around people who maybe feel much stronger in a touring car but are scared of racing open wheelers because they don't want to tank their I-rating or something. There's a lot of people who have strong opinions on this and maybe even think that each car deserves its own license grade as well. Personally, I have to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of this change. I don't think this is worth it. I think if you're a 5,000 I-rating strength driver in a sports car, you should be pretty much the same in a formula car. They're pretty much the same thing. Let's be honest, they're not that different. But yeah, a lot of people have strong opinions, and just be aware of it that you have 2 licenses now, which means you need to do double the grinding if that's what you're into. Yeah, so everything with a roof is a sports car. So even aero cars like GTPs and stuff, those are all sports cars, so don't get them confused. Another thing that was released this build, which is really cool, and I think no one has noticed because we're all existing iRacing players, but they've completely rebuilt the new driver onboarding process. You can actually find this yourself by going to the settings option at the bottom left of the UI and enabling the new driver onboarding. But basically you get to select oval or road, and then if you select road, it chucks you into a 5-lap race at Lime Rock School in a Formula V car, and the spotter walks you through the whole process of setting up your controls, how to do practice, how to grid, all of those little things. And then it gives you a really nice kind of categorized list of things to do and where to go next in your iRacing career. I think this was really fun. I think iRacing is a really steep learning curve, especially when you're starting. You don't really know what to do. You're do I race MX-5s? What do I do? This will make life a lot easier for new players. I think this is a really good change. Another change that will affect a lot of us is that the new damage model has been added to a bunch of cars. They've been added to the GTEs, the LMP ones, and then a bunch of old cars like the Jetta, the Kia Optima, a bunch of production cars, and also the old Indy cars as well. Wasn't added to the V8 supercar though, which is kind of annoying. The new 3D curbs that are being used were also added to Fuji and Sebring. These curbs are really cool. If you haven't used them before, they feel much different in the force feedback. They rumble as you drive over them. One thing to be aware of that I've noticed is that if you drive a car that doesn't have the new damage model on it, like the V8 supercar, if you drive over the curb doesn't actually exist. It's just flat road. Take that information as you will, use it for your benefit. But yeah, 3D curbs don't work for non-NDM cars. The AI has been updated for a bunch of cars and tracks. Every build, the AI goes to university and reads a bunch of books. I'll just tell you my favorite books that they read this semester was Dealing with the Loss of a Loved Wheel and Ankle Strength Training for Maximum Throttle Control. The pace car driver has also been named. His name is Fred. If you didn't know that, his name is Fred. Our flag marshal is named Barney. Also, Fred's been improved a bunch. He now knows how to deal with chicanes and stuff better on pace laps. There's no major changes to how the pace car works though, but it's been tweaked a little bit. There are some bug fixes as well in the game. Some 3-cylinder cars were failing to start at high altitudes, which I find hilarious. And also, iRacing says that they removed an ancient legacy piece of code that provided a roughly 1 in 1 million chance of catastrophic engine failure at any time for no reason. This sounds like old, almost GP Legends, that code, but if you've ever had your engine blow up for no reason before, it was probably this 1 in 1 million chance of it happening. So it shouldn't happen again. Now, after all those changes, we'll go into the new content. For starters, we have a dirt micro sprint car. We have a winged version and a non-wing version that are available, and these are both free. They're pretty small. I'm pretty sure they have a motorbike engine, so they have like a bunch of gears that you can go through, and they sound like bees. So if you're into dirt cars, this one's kind of fun. It's like a really good, I think, more junior beginner dirt car for racing. And on the dirt side of things as well, we have Millbridge Speedway, which has been added. This is a very, very small dirt oval. I'm pretty sure it's the smallest dirt oval that we have on iRacing. Continuing the iRacing curse of unfortunately releasing cars as they die in real life, the SRX car has been added this build as well. This car can be raced on dirt and on asphalt oval. The cars kind of look awesome, I think. They have a really cool wing. If you're into SRX, give it a go. As for road content, we have 2 new tracks and 1 new car this build. To start with the tracks, we have a new track called Algarve. This is in Portimao in Portugal. It's the first Portuguese track we have, and it was used for F1 a couple of years ago, if you were remembering correctly. So I'm starting a lap at Algarve circuit in Portimao, Portugal. It's an interesting track, and it's got a very busy first sector, so let's jump straight into it. First corner is uphill. It's like this kink that's quite high speed. You can take more speed through it than you think you can. And we go towards this hairpin. And you got to keep it really tight on exit here to open up the entry into this left-hander, which leads onto a straight. So this track is probably most well known for hosting MotoGP, and the MotoGP riders use a left-hander that we're just going to pass on the left. But because we're in a race car, we're going to use this hairpin. This track also hosted F1 in the COVID years, so you may remember it from that. That's, I think, where most people remember this track from. Yeah, hosts a lot of other stuff, but no other big car racing at the moment, I would say. And we go through the roller coaster section. And up here, we kind of shoot it over the crest, stay in the middle of the road. And we hit that apex, it's blind on exit. Super fun. And so far the track's been awesome, but we head into my least favorite part of the track, which is a bunch of hairpins. I completely missed that hairpin. And this one's even worse. It goes on for way too long, and you can basically feel your front tires just like decomposing as you turn the car. But then this final corner's fun. You aim for the curb, it's completely blind, and get straight back on the throttle and drive it out to the exit. So yeah, that's Portimao. This is a really fun track. It's hosted F1 in the past, maybe it will again in the future, and I hope you have a lot of fun racing it on iRacing. So along with Algarve, we also have another new track, Misano. Misano is in Italy. It's another Italian track, and it's sort of near San Marino. The first thing you need to know with this track is that it has the longest pit lane exit that I've ever seen in my entire life, but otherwise, it's okay. I decided to give it a lap in the brand new Super Formula Lights car. Okay, so I'm starting a lap at Misano in the brand new Super Formula Lights car. This car is awesome. It's basically, it's an F3 car, basically. It's a Dallara. It's a modern day F3 with a halo and stuff, so it's a little bit more up to date than the other F3 we have. And it's raced in Japan, of course, where Super Formula is. Probably the most well-known driver for me is Igor Fraga, who raced this last year. And no one's made an Igor Fraga livery yet on Trading Paints, which is an absolute crime, I think. But yeah, this track itself, Misano, is pretty good. It's in Italy, another Italian track. And it's been in ACC for a little bit, so you may have raced it in Assetto Corsa. This track has hosted GT3 racing, but it's probably most well known for bikes. This is another track that hosts the MotoGP. And you can tell it's like lots of flat curbs, kind of long corners, things like that. This final section of the track is my favorite. There's about 6 kinks lead into one another. Fun fact, I was staying in San Marino when I was like 12 years old, and I was like, I really want to see where the San Marino Grand Prix is. I want to see Imola. And nobody knew where the track was. And so I asked a taxi driver to take us there, and eventually we got there in Italy. I was very excited, and it was actually Misano that they took me to. I've never been more disappointed in my life, and I'm still disappointed to this day. This track's kind of average. This final corner though is cool. You can carry way more speed than you think you can. But yeah, this track's fun. It could be worse. It's not bad. I think it'll be good technical racing, but you know, it's not the best track in the world. The Super Formula Lights car is an F3 level race car that's used in Japan. It's the support category to the Super Formula series, and it's a way more modern version of an F3 car than we previously had in iRacing. So yeah, that's all the new content this build. There is some good stuff. There is rain. We're not talking about rain in this video, but that's like a lot. There's a couple of bugs. Apparently at the moment in like official racing, the forecasts don't work correctly for official racing. So if it says it's gonna rain in one race, it'll rain in like every race for that week. IMSA official racing is at Suzuka and it's in like monsoon level rain. So if you're into that, you should go race IMSA this week. Otherwise, if you like this video, feel free to leave a like and you can leave a comment below with what you're most excited about racing in season 2 of 2024 on iRacing. Otherwise, you can subscribe to Overtake for more sim racing videos and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.